Okay, so David, we're here at Bendemeer at round 3 of the Winch Challenge.
Yes, this is the end of the series of the ARB Xtreme Winch Challenge, and this is the first time here at Bendemeer, which is just situated north of Tamworth. We've been at Manila for the last 4 years, so we've had the use of this property absolutely fantastic. It's been real good here.
Now this is quite different to the other property just north of Tamworth, isn't it?
Comparing this to the property out at Mount Bora is completely different. We've got more room, it's a lot greener, a lot more grass. Trees are lovely, and I've had a lot of room to work with. I haven't been confined to a couple of gullies, which has meant a lot longer stages for the drivers that have enjoyed it, and they've had a lot more drive time than what they normally have at previous rounds.
And I guess in some ways it's a bit tougher in some areas, but in other areas it's a bit easier, isn't it?
It is. The sprint stages have been brilliant. You don't have to break vehicles when you're doing whatever event it is. It's a team event, you know, it's driver, vehicle, co-driver, and it takes 3 to make a team. So you're testing so it can be easy in spots. You don't have to break vehicles, you just have to be a little bit demanding.
Now talking about breaking vehicles, we haven't broken too many this weekend, but there has been a few, hasn't there?
There has been a few. Nathan and Les went out last night in their Polaris with a broken axle after a few exciting drives on Saturday morning. We've had Rod and Russell Rathbone a bit of bad luck yesterday, popping out 2 axles on one of the SS's, and they even matched it today, popping out another one on their last stage. So it has been interesting. We've had some first timers in. They made the start of the sprint stage, but their winch was even broken before they got into the other stages. So it hasn't been too bad. We've had Dean Wood and Josh being able to get through the complete weekend for this series, first time. So no, it hasn't been too bad, but it hasn't been too good on some of them.
And it's certainly a mixed field. One lady competing, a couple of young guys, and a guy who jumped in at the last minute.
Yeah, more fool he might say. He happened to get in Chris Wood's buggy, and that's a bit of a weapon. But Chris is co-driven for me, and he's a very good teacher. I think he just has to start learning to treat his normal co-driver in the way he treats the people he's trying to teach. We've had Em Taylor from the Springs. Her and her father were down here this weekend, but on the last stage they broke a winch, so that was a bit of a pity.
Now that little Polaris, yesterday we saw it going pretty hard. In fact, it was one of the only vehicles to drive a section that everybody else had to winch up.
That was SS4. It was the only vehicle to drive that, but then again it had a dog's leg in it. They struck it a little bit dry, and the Polaris is only, say, 4 foot wide compared to 6 or 7 foot wide of the vehicles, and I think the gate opening was 2100 and the widest truck was 2050. So the Polaris did manage to fit through the trees, but very, very good fun to watch.
There's certainly a range of vehicles here this weekend, probably not as many as you hoped.
No, we got more. We've been running around the 10, 11 vehicles. I was coming into this event during the week with 8 vehicles. There were all the people that have done every round of the series. And then during the week we picked up another 4, which was a bit of a surprise. But as everyone knows, the downturn and everything, the boys with their toys, something has to give when the money gets tight. And worse luck, it's just not my event, it's everyone's event. Numbers are down in. So I think it's been good for me for 12 years. You don't make $1 million, but it is fun. It's time for everyone, I think, to sit back and just to see where they're going. Honestly, I think too much money is being spent on cars, which keeps a lot of new people out. They see the dollars throwing at it. A competitive winch, if you want to buy it, by the time you get it on the vehicle, is nearly $10,000.
There are opportunities for new people to come into the sport, though. You don't have to spend $1 million if you don't want to, do you?
No, you don't. You know, I've been trying to get the production class going, but no one seems to want to drive what they've got. I don't want to see V8s in vehicles that didn't have V8s. But there is a market there. But as I was speaking to someone today, he asked the same question. I said it's gone nowhere because people have done too much to their vehicles under my rules to get into production, and this is for their normal road vehicles. So whatever you've got at home, put a good winch on it. It doesn't have to be worth $10,000. Get out there and have fun. Compete with the big boys, whether it's my event or someone else's.
And that's right, because you can run in a different class, and whilst you might be competing against the big boys outright, there's also the class opportunity, isn't there?
You can say you've won the class, but to me, if you're the only person in the class, it's a bit of a false win, really, you know, being honest. But I think with the production vehicles, with the winch challenge, the main thing you have to do, if you want to start, you put a 6 horsepower winch and you run it on 24 volts, and you'll be able to go anywhere where these other guys go. It doesn't take that much to do. You don't have to go out and spend the money to have fun.